morning to you, and welcome back to today's JRPG Weekly Update. I'm SuperDerek, and guys, have I got news for you? Oh, yeah, a little bit. Not as much as I would like to talk about, because there's a whole lot of not things happening going on right now. So, we got a little bit. We'll get through this together. We'll get through this JRPG news together, guys. And by together, I mean that in the celebrity form of the word, like I'm going to be hunkered down in my bunker with all of my video games and we'll be separate. That kind of together. That's what I mean. We've got some interesting things to talk about, though, because Bandai Namco did actually show off a trailer of an upcoming action RPG that looks pretty interesting. They're calling it Scarlet Nexus. And this game looks like an interesting mix of a couple different things. It reminds me mainly of like the style, the aesthetic of Code Vein, mixed with maybe some of the gameplay of Control, if you remember that game that, like throwing stuff around the screen, manipulating things in three-dimensional space. It looks really interesting, kind of like, it looks very anime inspired, and it's got what looks like some sort of demons or aliens coming down from space, maybe, that look like bouquets of flowers with legs. It looks kind of ridiculous, but I think it looks like it could be pretty fun to play. So, I'll keep my eyes on this one. The game's going to be apparently coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Steam, but we don't exactly have a date for that sort of thing just yet. And apparently the development is involving some key members of some staff from the Tales series. So yeah, I think this one's definitely worth keeping an eye on as it progresses. We also got some games that are coming over to the West that were recently announced, or kind of revealed rather than really announced. For instance, Persona 5 Scramble is going to be coming to the West on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, but that's been confirmed, but I didn't think for a moment that we weren't going to be getting it. And so it's not really like a big, hey, and more like a, by the way, this is a thing. But it is nice to have that sort of confirmation, so we can look forward to making sure we do get that at some point. Also, there's an indie RPG called Bug Fables. It's a Paper Mario style turn-based RPG that looks super good. That's already out on PC, though, if you're not already familiar, and you can definitely go play that on Steam, but it's also coming to consoles now. That's actually going to be making its way over to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on May 28th, and it's only going to cost you about $25, and I've heard really good things about this game. I think it's worth keeping an eye on as well. Although it looks like it's going to be digital only for the time being, and I can't really say I'm surprised because just logistics are kind of all over the place right now, Also, we got a stealth launch of an indie RPG, Indivisible, that's now on the eShop. That is currently $29.99. Indivisible, you might already remember from being on PS4. It got some recent updates, including adding, I think, multiplayer, if I recall correctly. Now, the version that is coming to or came to Nintendo Switch isn't fully up to date with all of those latest things, although I suspect we'll be seeing those at some point as well. Memories of Salsetta, the East game, is coming to PlayStation 4 on June 9th, 2020. That game was originally launched in the West on the PlayStation Vita back in late 2013, and it somewhat recently, I guess back in 2018, I guess that was like 2 years ago, got a port over to Steam, or PC rather. So now, if you haven't had a chance to play it on Vita because it was on Vita, well, now you can play it on PlayStation 4 in just about a month or so, just a little under a month. Pretty awesome. Now, Octopath Traveler also recently got ported over to another system. I don't know what you would call Google Stadia, but Octopath Traveler was just really awesome on Nintendo Switch, and it's released on PC not too long ago as well. Now it's on Stadia, and I can't really stress this enough. If you haven't already played Octopath Traveler and you like retro RPGs, definitely go check it out. I think I can't recommend this game enough, really. There are some drawbacks to it, like the fact that your characters don't really talk to one another pretty much ever, except for during some banter sequences so that you have to like, press the plus button to watch. Anyways, aside from a couple of those sorts of things, I think that this game was definitely an awesome shot, and you should definitely check out my review of Octopath Traveler over there if you haven't already seen it. I highly recommend the game. I think it's awesome, and it might even still be playable on Google Stadia. Maybe. I mean, no promises there. But the fact that it's an action, or that it's an RPG, a turn-based RPG, hopefully lag won't destroy the experience. Game Freak's title, Little Town Hero Big Idea Edition for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, that's actually been delayed until June 23rd this year, or June 23rd in the US and the 26th over in Europe. Now, this is that physical copy of the game that was released earlier on Nintendo Switch. And, apparently they pushed it back a little ways, and I'm guessing that's mostly just because of an existing hiccup with their logistics, because, COVID-19 and the pandemic sort of thing, that's sort of affecting a lot of sort of logistics, shipping things to and from places, and every link in the chain along the way to distributing these things. I'm guessing is probably just another hiccup like that, sort of like what we see with just issues with Amazon delivering packages that would normally be on Prime, but instead of taking 2 days, it takes 4 weeks. It's sort of like that sort of thing, I'm guessing. But I didn't see an official statement on why that was, but I think it can pretty much be assumed. Also, in other news, Yakuza Like a Dragon, the turn-based RPG. It's so weird to think of Yakuza as a turn-based RPG. So anyways, the turn-based RPG in the Yakuza series, Yakuza 7, has been announced by Sega as coming to the Xbox One and the One X, as well as PC, alongside the Western release of on PlayStation 4, which is pretty cool. I mean, in my mind, Yakuza seems like very much, I know it's made by Sega, but it always felt like a very PlayStation game. Like it felt like it belonged on PlayStation 2, on PlayStation 3. I don't know if it ever came to Xbox before, Xbox 360 or anything, but seeing it come to Xbox One and Xbox One X, that's just really cool. That is going to be an option for more people. And honestly, this game trailer just looks so cool, guys. Anyways, there is not yet a announcement as far as what time that will be launched in the West. So just hold tight, I guess. Even though Japan got it back in January, hopefully we'll see it at some point. In SuperDerek news, I recently got a new t-shirt in stock at my shop, located in the links in the description and probably in the comments and stuff. This is a brand new shirt that was inspired by a conversation I had with chat over on Twitch. It is the Speak Softly and Carry a Giant Sword tee, obviously inspired by Final Fantasy VII, and a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt, huge weeb, we all know it, and now we have a shirt immortalizing that fact. So make sure you check that out if you're interested. And as a side note, anybody who's currently subscribed to my Twitch channel and anybody who supports the show on Patreon currently have access to 25% off their entire order. So, if you wanted to get a mug or a or a shirt at the same time, this would be a pretty good opportunity for you to do that. And in the JRPG Weekly Forecast for this week, we've got a whole lot of nothing, guys. I even scoured through the PC releases. It's not looking good right now. So we're just going to skip that release, save your money, invest that in upcoming releases, unless you missed out on like Trials of Mana or something, in which case that is still, I think, a worthwhile endeavor. Definitely. And I reviewed that, obviously. If you haven't already seen that, make sure you check it out. I really appreciate it. And then lastly, we've got today's question of the week. Trials of Mana just recently came out and I reviewed that and had a blast with it. Secret of Mana got a remake a couple of years ago and it kind of was like pretty poorly received. Now, given that trajectory, would you be more comfortable if this team that made the Seiken Densetsu 3 remake, if they wanted to continue carrying the torch and either remake Legend of Mana or maybe even just make a new entry in the Mana series, would you guys be interested in that? Because I think I would. At first, I wasn't really sure how I would feel about them reviving the Mana series after, we got a kind of a stinker with Dawn of Mana on the PlayStation 2, and then who even knows what happened to the series after that. It's been so dormant so long, and I feel like what's really interesting is the team who's been doing these started with Secret of Mana. They did a very literal translation, like the camera, you couldn't control that. It was a very top-down sort of experience, and it kind of suffered quite a bit as a result of that. But now with the Trials of Mana remake, it looks like they've really gotten their hands more on like what made these games fun to begin with. It reminds me a lot of when I would do artwork and stuff, how you would do studies of the masters, right? You would say, look at a lot of Pablo Picasso's art and then try to sort of incorporate some of his styles into your own painting to try to learn how did this work? What made that work for this painting? What made this good? Well, I feel like that's in a way kind of like what this team at Squaresoft, or Square Enix rather, has been doing with the Mana series. And as a result, I think I would actually be really curious to see what they could do if they could incorporate that knowledge that they've gained, especially between the jump from Secret of Mana to Trials of Mana. I think they have the potential to really revive this series. And this release already of the remake of Trials, I think has really just breathed a breath of life into this pretty much dormant series prior. So, knock on wood, I think I would not only be accepting of them continuing on the Mana series at this point, but I would actually, I think, cheer it on. But what do you guys think? In the meantime, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Make sure you subscribe if you like RPG news, and hit the like button, I guess. If I hate saying that, I hate having to do this. That's the worst part about being a YouTuber is how if you don't play the game, you lose. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. God. Thanks, guys. Take care, and I will see you guys next time. I'm SuperDerek, and this has all been news to me.